everyone. Good night, good night, good night. And I'm so happy to have you here with me for our Create and Get Paid session. I hope you're excited as I am to get into the discussion and learn really how to create and get paid and let your, sorry, just bear with me. Right, yeah. To finally get paid for all the products, goods, or services that you are engaged in, and to get paid properly and to be rewarded and acknowledged for your work. So I am happy to have this session. I am just going to give people a few minutes to jump on, join the discussion, find out what your concerns are, and hear from you, because I really want this to be interactive. So wave, smile, just let me know that you're part of the process, and we're going to get into how you could create and how you could get paid, what you need to consider when you are creating, and the factors that are involved in getting paid properly. Knowing what is involved in the payment process is really crucial to seeing the rewards for your products and services. So I am just going to give a few minutes, share the link, tell a friend that I'm here, let people know that this is happening, because I know a lot of people were anticipating this discussion, because I am anticipating it too. I really want to hear your questions, and let's find out how to create and get paid properly. I thought this discussion was very necessary because a lot of people just create. Either we have various types of creatives involved. So if it's not music, if it's not writing a book, doing a painting, or you might be on the other end of the creative process. I have people who I've met who are creating beauty products, for instance, creating shampoos, hair creams, many types of beauty supplies. So you may be at a different spectrum of the whole creative process, and you want to find out, which is why we're having this discussion tonight. How do I get paid? What do I consider when I am going into the creative process? So I am just going to give like a few seconds. Make sure you have your questions loaded, and we are going to kick off. All right, so you might see me look away. I just want to make sure I have all my notes on point, and we are going to get into the discussion. So I shared a few articles leading up to this tonight's live session on the event page. If you didn't have an opportunity, you can always check the event page, or I will share the link in the comment section. And in those articles, I posted about evaluating your brand, and also about documenting the creative process, which are some of the things I'm going to touch on during the course of the discussion. And the first thing that you want to consider when you are creating anything, now I am dealing with both spectrums. So if you are a creative person in the sense that you are a designer, you are an artist, you are an author, this also applies to you, as well as if you are a business owner and you are creating a product for sale. These principles apply across the board. Right? It applies across the board, despite what end of the spectrum you are on. Okay. So the first thing that you need to consider is a cost analysis. What is this really going to take from me? Now, let's say that you are a musician, and you might just probably be making music, and there's no real cost that you might be putting out initially. And bear in mind, I'm not talking about studio time as yet. We haven't gotten into that end of the discussion. But if you are now just being the author, you need to document everything. That is the first part of understanding the cost analysis of what you're creating. You need to document everything. Make an inventory of everything that you are doing along the creative journey. So whatever you would have spent, or whatever time, because time also is money, calculate your time that you would have been spending in terms of developing the product and putting the product together. So you need to document your time and document costs that you have attached to whatever it is you are developing. Now, In addition to documenting the time and the cost, which will help you evaluate the brand, documentation for those who are in the design and the artistic side of the creative process also allows you to protect yourself from infringement from a possible persons, from somebody who may think that they like your product and they want to replicate it and they want to copy it. So not only is it good to document it for cost analysis, but it's also essential that you document it so that you can have it as proof of ownership. That is very, very, very important, because in terms of creating things where I'm dealing with the copyright side of the creative process, we don't have a registration system. It's necessary that you have documentary evidence of proof of creation. So all the things that you're documenting will go towards establishing you as the creator. Photos, videos, etc. will go towards addressing the fact that, you know what, you did create this at a specific date and a specific point in time. Now, as I said, documenting works for both persons, but for different reasons. So a cost analysis will involve, one, an inventory of the creative process, everything that you would have done, and the cost attached, as well as documentation that will go towards proof of creation. So that's the first thing in terms of allowing you to be able to create and get paid properly. Now, if I'm going too fast, let me slow down. Please let me know your thoughts as I go along. Feel free to ask your questions. There's no set format. I will answer questions as they appear. So just let me know that you're here. Okay. So I'll give you, time to digest everything that I've said. And for those who join in, then just feel free to post your questions in the discussion. So the first thing that I spoke about was the cost analysis. The second thing that you want to consider is, what is the market value of your creation? Now, you may be you may be an entrepreneur who's new to the market, or you may be an up-and-coming artist in whatever respect. Let's say you are, again, designer, musician, an author. What is the market value of your creation? Now, it will be very hard to decide that if you are not experienced in your field. If you're experienced in your field, then you'll be able to properly average and estimate what is the market value of your creation. Now, factors that will go towards deciding what is the market value of what it is I'm doing is things like experience. How experienced are you in what you're doing? How well known are you in the marketplace? What is your popularity? What is your fan base? How well known is your brand? How well known is your imagery, your visuals? Can people easily identify who you are? Those things, as simple as they may sound, there's a cost attached to that, and it adds value to your being able to be paid at a certain amount. Because let's think about it, and I'm using this and this applies both to entrepreneurs as well as artists. Let's say you are a lesser known artist. You would not be able to command a certain type of figure as somebody who has been in the business for a number of years. Again, that goes towards how you're going to be paid. If you are a new product on the market, your price point would not be the same as somebody who has been on the market for a number of years and they have developed a certain amount of credibility, trustworthiness amongst consumers who use that particular product. Even if your product is the best and you have gotten great feedback, your price point should reflect your experience and your popularity in the market. Also, when you are deciding, what price should I be paid at, things that you'd want to consider is project your earnings based on your current cash flow as to how your product has been selling and how it has been doing for the time that it has been on the market. So if you do a projection for about 6 months, you'll be able to evaluate, this is what I have been making in 3 months, and this is what I expect to be making as my product gets some more popularity and persons become aware and more familiar with the product. Any questions? Wow, we have a very quiet crowd. Yes. So I hope I am making sense. I hope everything that I have said so far is really resonating with you, the factors to consider. One, again, I'm just going to reiterate inventory of a course analysis of what it is you're doing. As soon as you start, you need to develop a course analysis. And I have mentioned the factors to consider. Two, what is the market value of your creation? Again, I have outlined some of the things that you'll need to consider as to where you stand in the market. And the last point that I really want to hammer home is to evaluate the IP term of your product. And why this is important, it is so crucial. Now, I will tell you why. Let's say it depends again what type of product you're creating. So let's say you are a musician. I will deal with both sides, from the artistic side if you're a designer, etc., and if you are a business owner or entrepreneur. So let's say you are creating music or something that will fall under the helm of copyright. You would need to determine, you know what, when you start creating, that what I am creating has a longevity because it's mine, and it is, how long would I be protected for? So let's say you're creating a musical piece, or you're creating a song, etc., with other persons. Now, the term of copyright is for your entire lifetime and 50 years after that, at least in Trinidad and Tobago. So what you are creating, you own that for that period of time. Now, that is very important in terms of deciding, you know what, how am I going to get paid for this? Because that is the period of time that you would own this work. By considering how long the copyright term is, it will be able to allow you to decide what you want to do with the product. You can consider things like licenses. If the production is of when you do your collaboration and you have the end product, if it's an artwork or a song, etc., it has gained so much popularity. Persons will then be interested in sampling your work. Now you have this product for your entire lifetime and 50 years. You can then decide, well, okay, I am going to enter into licensing arrangements, which will bring different revenue streams, from movies to video games to advertisements. So you need to factor in that what you're creating has a period of time in which you can exploit it. Now let's look at it from this standpoint of if you are an entrepreneur and you are creating a brand. So you're building a brand, and that brand you haven't, just 1 minute, right? So you're building a brand, you're an entrepreneur. And what you're building, when you're thinking about building a brand, you're looking at trademarks. You develop symbols and logos, etc., colorful visuals that persons have now become to identify you in the marketplace. So you need to consider, you know what, okay, people know who I am. Everybody will be asking for the let's say you have a shampoo with an S on it. Persons will be asking, oh, I want to get that brand. Or they go to the store, they look for that specific brand. When you create a brand that starts to get popularity and people know who you are by your visuals, that brand has a certain amount of equity. And that term for trademark protection, should you seek to register it, it lasts, you get a certificate that lasts for 10 years, at least in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm referring to our jurisdiction. So when you are creating, you need to consider that, you know what, I have protection for this particular brand for this period of time. Now, if you don't register your brand, you know, there are other implications which I have mentioned in previous videos that you could always check the page and get a recap on that. But if you have registered your brand, you issued with a trademark certificate, that brand has value. Then you would want now to either license that brand, sponsorship deals are something that would be open to you, that you would align yourself with other brands, and all these things have financial value attached to it. So in terms of creating, and this is why I'm going to bring it always back to, if someone steals your visual, etc., but you don't have a trademark as yet, what do you do? Right. And I mentioned this in a previous video, Christine. If somebody steals your visuals, but you don't have a trademark as yet, what you'll have to do is issue something that there's a common law legal principle, which is known as passing off, where that person is passing off your brand, as theirs. Now, if you haven't registered as yet, you'll have to rely on that principle, which then calls for you to issue a letter, rely on things like evidence from, if you take it to litigation, to rely on evidence from your consumers who would now be able to say, I am familiar with this brand. I know this brand is associated with a particular business owner or particular business, but the initial stage is to notify that person, through the various legal means, and let them know that, what, I have been using this brand for a period of time. What you're doing is attempting to pass off your product as if it's my product, as if it's yours, and that is illegal, and you're infringing basically on my rights. So that is really what you'll have to do in the interim until you have actually registered your brand as a trademark. And you have a certificate which you'll be able to use to assert and prove. But those are the initial steps based on the evidence that you have that will allow you to protect yourself from a possible infringement by another party. And again, there's other things that you can use to bolster that in terms of the documentation that you would send to that party. Again, that is something you would have. Each case will have to be examined on a case-by-case basis, review what is before, an attorney would review what is before them and be able to clearly and precisely identify and advise. I hope that answers your question. So just to recap, trademarks are applicable to, thanks for joining. Trademarks are applicable to business owners in this particular create and get paid. Trademarks are applicable. Trademarks are something that you definitely want to protect. All your visuals, all your packaging, all your symbols, everything that is associated with your brand. Yes, definitely. We'll chat in more detail. Yeah, everything that is associated with your brand, you want to protect. So as you see in the back here, all my symbols and stuff like that, these are things that you want to protect. And I'm just going to elaborate further again, specifically for the business owners and creatives. This is applicable to you because you need to be identified by some means. You need to be identified. How are people going to know, okay, you're going by a sobriquet and your name is X? How people are going to know who X is? Again, not only the copyright is applicable to you, but the trademark is applicable to you, because if you take steps to protect yourself by protecting your trademarks, you can then get paid through merchandising, developing brands that will go along with whatever music or artwork. You can now start selling, if it's pens, if it's t-shirts, CD covers, all those things allows you to get paid. So you want to protect every aspect of your visuals, because you don't want anybody to take that now and exploit it when you have gained a certain amount of popularity, right? So I hope this is helpful. I'm going to stick around for a little bit to answer some of your questions, and I'm just going to recap. So if you see me looking to the side, I'm just pulling up my notes so that I could recap in the meantime, and I'll see if any of your questions pop up on the side. So to recap, in terms of creating and get paid, I want you to take away these points from tonight's discussion. 1, a cost analysis. Think about how much you're spending and document everything. 2, what is the market value of your creation? Where are you in the market? Are you at the beginning? Are you at the end? What is your popularity? What is your experience? What are you earning so far, and what is your projected earnings? Evaluate the IP term of your product. First, you need to decide, well, you would have already decided what you are creating, but you need to know now, okay, this is what I'm creating, and what I'm creating is covered under this legal means. When you think about intellectual property, it either falls under a patent, it falls under a trademark, it falls under copyright. Once you have identified the category that it falls under, it will give you a better mind frame to decide, okay, this is the options and streams of revenue available to me for me to further exploit and to get paid, right? So these are the factors you need to consider. I would advise, in cases where you're not certain which part what you're creating falls in terms of the under what umbrella of intellectual property it falls, and you need to figure out, okay, you know what, I'm uncertain where this falls in the spectrum. You know, you come in, I'm always here to advise. You could always make an appointment or send me a message on the page, and I'll be able to tell you, you know what, this falls under this particular category, and this is where your mind should be going in terms of what possible distribution deals we'll be looking at, licensing deals, etc., based on the product you would have created. So I'm not seeing any more questions on this side, so I am going to be signing off. I hope this was helpful. If you found it helpful, please tag a friend. Please share the video and let somebody else know how important it is to create and get paid. Thanks for watching.